Alright, so a couple days ago I was mowing and all of a sudden it started making these grooves on one side really low. And so we got to get that fixed. Alright, so we got our John Deere X310 here, and the other day it started cutting lopsided. If you look here, you can see the one side of the deck is lower than the other side. So we're going to show you how to fix that and what's causing it. So the first thing you want to check is make sure that the stuff that attaches to your deck is all in good order. We got this bar that attaches in the front and runs back here and attaches to the mowing deck. So you can see that it's in good shape. It's attached both sides in good working order. It's not bent, so we're good there. The next thing you want to look at is back here. There's this bar and attached to the back of the mowing deck over here. And this is your adjustment, raises and lowers this bar right here. And you can see that there's this bolt right here. And it goes up through here, and there's a nut on the other side of this and holds that up. So that looks good. We're going to go check the other side. Alright, so over here on this side, you can see we've got, again, this bar attaches on the back and goes up here to this pivot point, and you can see this bolt here is does not look like the other side does. Let's see, rotate around here. So what's happened is this popped out of this bracket up here. So I need to lift this mower deck up and put this ball joint back in here. So that's just going to require a little bit of muscle. I'm not sure if you can see, but so this hole here is wider, and then there's another hole. And then there's a hole here in the bottom that this shaft needs to come through to. So you're going to have to lift it up, push it back behind here, let it pop in through here, and then settle back down into this hole, and we should be good to go. So I might get some boards or something to where I can lift this up a little bit, inch by inch, and put the boards underneath there to hold it, and then I can finagle this up into the hole without having to try to lift and finagle at the same time. Alright, so I got me a brick and some scrap boards here, 2x4s, and a little piece of plywood here. So we're just going to lift up our chute here and put these up underneath here, because that's going to be the easiest place for me to grab and lift from, and start putting stuff up underneath here. Alright, so I got a brick and a 2x4. You can see this is almost lined up. It needs to be a little bit taller for it to clear and snap in there like it's supposed to. So we'll put another board in here. Alright, so that looks like that might have done the trick. It might be hard to see, but this has a little crook in it right here, and it looks like this should be wide enough to accept the head of this, but this crook here is keeping this from popping in. So it looks like I'm going to have to get this up high enough to clear in here, pop it in, and then let it down. So it has to come up quite a bit more. Alright, so the problem I've got with lifting this up any higher is this yellow deck right here is hitting against this piece. I don't know if it'd be kind of hard to show, but it sticks out and it's hitting that. See right here, I can't lift this deck up anymore. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take this pin out here that will let this rod arm here go up and down, and then I can put this in place, push it back or lower it back down, and put the pin back, or put the post back through the hole, and then put this pin back in. So we're going to give that a try. Alright, so pin is out. Alright, so I got this piece off, and you'd think that this being off, there was some way for this thing to fall out of there. But I can get the top part through, but it needs to rest on this dome, half dome piece here. And I cannot for the life of me, no matter what I do, wiggle this, rotate it, get it back up through that hole. So I don't know how it came out, but it sure ain't going to go back the same way. Unless it's just way smarter than I am, which is very possible. So I'm going to have to take this nut off and try to fit it in through the top. Hopefully there's enough clearance up above there for it to do that. And it looks like there should be. Dang it. Alright, again, I tried and tried. I cannot find any angle to get this thing up in there. I tried to get one side going and then twist it, and it just won't go. I don't know how it came out. At any rate, so we've got it up there, and goes through the hole, and we're good. We got to put this back on. Now note that there's a round side and there's a side that's notched to go around that nut. So we want to put the shaft through the round side first, because the nut on the bottom can lock into that. So I need to put this on here first, then rotate it and put it on the shaft. That'll work. This is not an easy fit either. Alright, so we get that on, rotate it around, correct orientation, take this in and slide it on. So now it's all back together the way it needs to be, minus the nut at the bottom. And now it's a matter of screwing this nut back on to where it's back up to where it needs to be. And I measured how many threads down it was to begin with, so I know how far back to tighten it. So make sure you pay attention to that. Alright, so I got my bolt back on here at the bottom. Note that there's an Allen wrench up here at the top. And that's because the top of that bolt, that's what it takes. I gotta get that off. It's just taking me like forever to wrench this bolt up into place, but it's where it was. So now what I gotta do is put this back in here, line those bolts up, or line those holes up, and then put this pin back in there, and then it should be ready to go. Not sure if we can get the camera to sit still while I finagle all this, but at any rate, that's what we got to do. This into here, You can see that's two-sided, so it goes in the middle. Line up the holes, put the pin in, and then put the retaining clip in after that. Alright, we got this put back together now. I'm going to tell you the way that I ended up having to do this was I put the pin in the back and got it started through that first layer of the yellow metal. And then I was able to grab this with my right hand while I held that pin pressed up against the hole with my left hand, and then when I pulled this back real hard and lifted up and down, I was able to get the holes lined up, and then the pin popped through, and then we just put in the retaining pin. So at any rate, we should be good to go. I've been wrestling with this thing for a while. It's hot, it's humid. I am really messy. So I'm gonna dust off and go take a shower.